So this would technically be like phase two, as I mentioned to you guys, kind of restructuring some of the core stuff. I want to kind of ultimately categorize everything into a few different buckets. I did end up adding a fifth, like mindset and business expectations and stuff like that. But this will be like part phase two, where people really start to actually go down the path of becoming a buyer, right? Because it's like a journey for everybody. It's not like a blanket statement. Somebody can come into your group and they're going to turn into paid client in 18 minutes. It's different for everybody, and I honestly believe that the customer journey is getting longer and longer. You have talk of recession and fear of, real world, apocalypse and all that type of stuff, which all plays a part into how lax people are with spending money, especially with like things on the internet. And then you have other sides of the coin where uh, there's a lot of things that are kind of burning people, which there always have been, right? That's not anything new. Uh, so that people are skeptic of spending money, right? If they dropped $5,000 into a masterclass that left them high and dry, like they're going to need a little bit more, loving than somebody who, you know, already understands the power of it. So, uh,
The the thing is, folks are still spending money every day, but they're only spending money on things that make sense to them or things that they really want. So, I've heard a lot of different folks say the recession is here. That's what they're saying. They're saying it's here, right? It will get worse, but that's going to be. I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth. That's good for us because tell me if you agree with my next statement. If folks buy something from us and they do the work, they can build a brand and business around whatever they want and they can make money, right? So that allows us to become the heroes, right? Not that we're wearing capes and shit, but it's like, look, I have something you can buy for money, right? With your money that you've worked hard for that can give you a skeleton and a framework and training so that you can create your own economy. That's one way you can look at what we do. Group juice is how to build your own economy because you're building your own culture and community. Now, if you attract the right people, these people will fucking buy shit from you over and over again. But first, you gotta earn their trust to get that first sale, right? So that's a cool way to look at it. People are buying shit every day, and we can help people by selling them stuff, right? Once you get cool with that in your brain, your content will get better. Your message will get better. The way that you pitch and sell will get better. Just like, hey, I'm trying to fucking help you. Buy my shit. That's a simple way to put it, right? You want me to help you? Buy my shit, right? We got all kinds of ways we can tackle it, but that's like the most blunt that I can put it. Nate, could you make that a little bit bigger? I know you probably hear that a lot, but
been hearing it for 30 years.
damn. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Your
Um,
response should have been no, but you can.
um,
Hell yeah,
communities,
Jeanette.
communities like where you're heavy on pre-selling slash your model, more of the secret sauce. These two things can work really, really well together. Your assets in your group, your leveraged assets, the more leverage that we can create, the better off we're going to be. Like a good example of this is like, uh, Jeanette and Jill talking about how like, they've just been going balls to the wall and getting kind of burnt out and like doing a lot of stuff in the business where the cool part about the internet is we have the ability to create leverage in areas of business, right? And then leaning heavy on those leveraged pieces of business where it's like, you know, have to do this training, do this resource, put together this thing for somebody, and then that's the main medium to lean on, and you kind of let that work for you, right? We can kind of encapsulate our energy, and then it continues to compound and work for us for as long as we want to use it. Um, So these work really well together. Like, you have your group where you're posting regular content, but then leaning on the shit you guys have created, or like the live videos, or like things you put together to kind of accelerate those relationships without you having to go through that process over and over again. Now, the thing with this process and this actual thing is sometimes it can make the customer journey a little bit slower. Like, let's be real, right? Like, if there's two sides to that, right? If we're very active and we're like, handling a bunch of objections and we're doing all this like on a one-on-one scenario, you can usually move that customer along faster than if I sent them through a leveraged ecosystem where they can kind of just consume my content, get to know me, make their own decisions, right? Uh, so that is like a negative side effect of something like that. But I think the the positive side effects way bigger, right? More time, more freedoms, more time to watch American Horror Story and stuff like that, right? Like whatever you want to do. Um, just a lot less pressure if we kind of understand that going into it, that it can be a little bit slower of a buyer's journey than if we were like, using Jeanette's sales wizardry and being a savage versus just sending somebody into, our content ecosystem and letting them decide for themselves whether they like us or they don't. So I'll try to summarize everything that we can really cover in these in this bucket into a three-letter word, which is why. Obviously, this is not like a exhaustive list of you don't only create these things, right? I was just trying to give you guys an example. So why they should listen to you, why they should do what you do in comparison to what they're doing now. Examples of that: why they should build an online business instead of working a regular job, why they should, adopt a low tech approach instead of building fancy funnels. Like these are just very broad topics that you could break down into micros, right? You should listen to me because I struggled for 3 years and I don't want you to go through the same shit. You should listen to me because I spent $20,000 on masterminds that left me high and dry, right? Like you can spin these into so many different ways that you can create actual content. Next would be like why your way is better. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and like sling shit at other things and other models, but talk about why it's better. Good example of this, I literally just broke this down in like real time. I talked about a negative side effect of our model and what we do and like leverage content ecosystems, but I also talked about why I actually believe it's better, right? Because I can have more time freedoms, I have more leverage, I get more freedoms to do what I want and how I want to do things in business, right? In comparison to me, you know, running myself into the ground, doing all the other stuff, right? Um, Next would be like, why are you doing it? I don't think we can really talk about our whys enough to people. Hey, I'm doing this because I want to spend more time with my kids, and like diving into like actual motivations behind why you actually want to build this brand, and going a little bit deeper, because a lot of people are going to be having that feeling themselves. They're going to be asking themselves that question, is like, why should I even start this business? They have to figure out something that kind of motivates them to do it. And more often than not, it's not just finances. And a lot of the people who it is just finances, they end up kind of burning out, right? They kind of end up fizzling out because it's not a motivating enough drive. Some people, yes, that like to flex with Rolexes and like fancy cars and shit, and they like money or whatever. But for a lot of people, it's not enough to keep them in the game, right?
Yeah. And also keep in mind, like, not everybody wants to make $100,000 a month. Some folks would just be cool with making $4,000 a month. And that's okay too. Like, everybody's happiness and everybody's version of success, everybody's version of comfortability is all different. Right? That last one, why did you choose to do X model? So something we missed in the chat was Chan. She shared one of her wins. So we've been working with Chan trying to build out this new thing and get it structured, and she's super fucking excited if you guys can't tell. But she was opening up 10 spots and she's already got 7 of the spots closed. So what she could go out and do is say, hey, look, you know, I ignored the guys, which was just me specifically. Like I ignored the guys that have helped me do some amazing shit for a long time. And then look at the old way that she used to do things, and then look at the things how she does now. Like I shared a screenshot. It was a message from Chan. I just blocked out her name because I didn't want to mess up her mojo with what she's doing. But I can share it here. She closed the first 6 spots with less than 5 messages back and forth with those people. She didn't have to get on a single fucking sales call, right? And it's because she's really went hard on the content to build the relationships piece. So like she's been going heavy on long form content for a long ass time now. Folks have been paying attention and reading it. So when she hit them up to be like, hey, I got this new thing dropping, would you be interested? Fuck yeah. Right? Like sign me up, I'm down. So why'd you choose that model? Well, for that exact reason. I didn't want to have to waste time searching for people, getting on calls, begging them to buy my shit. I just hit them up, make a post, and they're ready to buy. Right? So I think that's something to pay attention to.
Read every word.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a big one, especially for folks that are already moving in business or they're doing certain things that they don't like. Right. You look at our main marketing messages, it's usually eliminating calls, eliminating fancy tech, all that stuff. I think I did a video. I did do a video. I don't know why I said I think. I did do a video kind of talking about Chantel's offer and like some reasoning behind it, or like my thought process behind it. And I dropped it in the cash curriculums community. If you guys didn't see it and you want me to send it, I can here. But when you guys can look at helping somebody get to a specific goal or an outcome while eliminating something in their business that they fucking do not like, it's a powerful combination, right? Like when we tell people that they can grow their groups by hundreds and thousands of people without, waiting on, other viral groups or doing all the other shit that people really don't like doing. Like there's people out there that don't like creating the fake side hustle content. It makes them feel slimy. It makes them feel unethical because they're like straight lying. And like there is people out there that feel like that, right? So when we're talking about showing them a way that they can have success without that, right? It hits the nail on the head, right? Getting clear that most people in this stage are interested in some form or some fashion. They just need to see or hear the right thing from you it'll make sense for them, right? If you look at your group and you have, 1,000 people in there, that's 1,000 people that are interested, right? Those are all technically leads, warm leads, right? They made it some type of micro commitment to come into your world, and there's a reason behind that. They just need to see the right thing. And everybody's going to be coming in at different stages. Everybody's going to probably be coming in from different types of content, different pieces of content. So it's your job as a content creator to figure out what they need to see, right? And that's not like a, I'll break down some buckets below, but this isn't going to be done with one piece of content or even like 5 pieces of content, right? This happens over multiple days, months, weeks, and even years, right? And that's not to say the person who came into your group today is going to take 8 years to buy, right? I'm not saying that, but that's the power in this model. And what we're talking about in the process is there's leverage inside of it. And, people can come in and they start building these relationships with you at scale. There's a lot of people building relationships with you at once, especially the more that you're creating the content, the more that you're putting this stuff in there and you're playing around with different angles, different, nuances, all the different stuff, right? You're going to end up building this wide net of people that are interested, right? So I wanted to cover some different things we need to regularly talk about, right? Risk reversal of the investment piece. Now we talk about, injecting pricing and stuff like that into your content, but we need to like de-risk investments, right? Like the number one thing, I'm trying to think of a good real world example of how we naturally de-risk investments that we make in life would be like a house. Hey, I'm going to be spending all this money on this house, but I'm going to get equity. I'm going to get equity in my home, and like finding ways that you can actually de-risk how much your thing costs for them, right? You can do this either by going heavy on the outcome, what it's going to do for people, what they're missing out on by not having the thing, right? The actual costs, right? So like another thing is like we talk about this a lot, where the cost of not investing, right? Let's say you have a process that you used to make 10K in 3 weeks, right? 21 days, you did $10,000, right? And then you have people coming into your world, you have people coming into your audience, and then they're kind of sitting idle and they're waiting months and months and months and months, right? Every 3 weeks that passes, they're missing out on $10,000. That's the real cost of them not joining, right? And so using something like that is a very powerful one to embed into your content. Right? Every minute that passes you by, you're missing out on, X amount of dollars. You're missing out on X amount of this, right? Like I had somebody who sent me a message and he's like, "Hey, I really want you to help me." And like we've been talking back and forth for 2 years, right? And I said, if you would have made a decision when we first started talking, I've helped people build 6-figure businesses, right? Like you could have already been here, right? But you've kind of been stuck in the fear of getting on camera and all that stuff. So
Another another one to add. This will kind of hit any bucket. People also buy things or move because it'll make them feel a different way. Like think about how you felt when you went and bought something you really wanted. Might have been a vehicle, might have been taking a trip. Like having the ability to go take a trip to Florida, go hang out with your friends, drink wine, day drink, right? Whatever it might be. I know, hell yeah, she had to come off the screen for that one. Fuck yeah. But people buy things for a feeling. We do things for a feeling, right? Like why do we work out? We do things for a feeling. We want to feel better, right? Think about the dopamine you get when you make a sale. Like you see $500 drop. Fuck yeah, I feel good now, right? I can't tell you how good I felt when the tax lady called me yesterday and was like, "Hey, got your taxes ready. You just need to come, pay for our services. We'll get them filed." And I'm like, "You got any news for me?" She's like, "Yeah, you don't owe any tax." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, can't tell me shit the rest of the day." That's a feeling, right? Now, I could, if I wanted to, just to give you guys a real example, I could go create content about that cheat sheet. I could probably sell that cheat sheet, right? But hey, here's how I was able to write off $50,000 for my business last year, right? Because that's about what it was. I had $50,000 in write-offs. Took my taxable income down by 50 grand. That would hit some people in the feels. Fuck yeah, I want to do that. Cool, right? You know what I'm saying? So a feeling, an emotion, people buy into that too.
yeah, and you bring up a really good point too, is like getting clear on the emotions of why somebody would be buying, and it's not always like what it could be on the surface, right? A good example of this is like uh, selling razors, and this is always the example. I think it was in like one of the books by Russell Brunson. Selling razors, right? Most people think like it could be a health thing, right? But there's so many different reasons behind why somebody would want to buy a razor, right? Maybe they need to shave for work, so it's like a professional thing, or hey, maybe they want more affection from their wife, and their wife won't kiss them if they have hair on their face, or like you know, maybe they have like skin problems and they get a lot of ingrown hairs or something. So like there's so many different facets to a singular product or a emotional drive to actually making that purchase that could be deeper than just the face of it, right? Let's talk about your model. leave no questions about what folks are actually going to have to do if they actually want to get X result. This is a very contrary opinion, right? A lot of people will go overhyped. They'll talk about, you know, making quick money, how easy it will be. And I think, in my opinion, I think it's better to actually like get very specific on what people are going to be doing and what they can expect, right? Instead of like going very heavy on, hey, I'm going to show you how to build a $10,000 a month business. Okay, but what are they actually going to be doing to build a $10,000 a month business? Like, go fucking deep. Like, are they going to be posting content? Okay, what kind of post content are they posting? Where are they posting content? Are they going to be posting videos? What are those videos going to look like? How are those actually going to be flowed? Right? Like, the more that you guys can include this type of stuff, the less questions you'll get. The
Yeah.
less, like, especially over time, if you look at it, right? Like, people are going to start becoming accustomed to what you show people how to do, what you teach people how to do, right? So by the time somebody's in your inbox and they're like, hey, I'm interested in XYZ, they already know that you're going to be showing them how to get on camera and create 5 to 60 second videos, or you're going to be showing them how to write content on Facebook or turn PDFs into offer docs, and like they're already going to understand, right? They're going to already actually know what they're actually going to be doing, and like the time horizon that could be expected to actually have success.
There
The number,
was,
the number of conversations that I have with people where I'm like, starting to talk about my model, and they're like, I already understand, like I already understand what you guys do, and like, can you just send me the checkout link? Right? Can you just send me information on the product, because the content has already explained what I'm going to be doing. They already
yeah,
know. It makes that sales process really short, a lot easier, a lot less pressure, because you're already explaining. And you can also go the other side of the spectrum, right? What aren't people going to be doing? What won't they be doing? What don't you teach people to do? Right? Like the one that I closed over email the other day. Right? That was something that I threw in there, was just to be clear, we won't show you how to do anything with ads. Right? We're not going to teach you how to do anything with ads. We don't do that.
right. There was a recent post. I did a few of these, and they definitely brought some good folks into group juice. But I couldn't find one right now because it's been a while. But it's like symptom addressing symptoms that people are dealing with, right? Like, when COVID hit, like, you have COVID if you can't smell shit, you can't taste shit, you have no energy, right? Y'all remember how that went down? A recent post, y'all might have read it. It was from Jacob. He listed, I don't know, maybe a dozen different symptoms in his post. I can probably add it to the doc if you guys would want to read it if you didn't see it. But he basically told folks, like, hey, if you're a coach and you're not closing the amount of sales or landing the amount of clients you want, here's some of the symptoms that you're dealing with. Right? He's like, you want folks to hit you up ready to buy. Right? You want to stop having to hold people's hands. You want to stop having objections to your price. He was just calling out symptoms that most coaches or affiliates deal with, and it was very, very polarizing, right? And we'll get to this next little smidgen I'm gonna share at the end of the doc, but it's like, give folks some good shit to binge on, so that they need your help in order to do it, right? We'll kind of lean into the who and the you, two very important factors. Who you're really looking for, right? Like, call out to them, tell them who they are, tell them about themselves in your content. Y'all know who these people are. Now, this can change, on the fly. It really depends on like your offer and what you're selling at the current moment. But look at the type of folks you've already helped. What were they dealing with when they came to you? Why did they buy from you? What were they hating that you helped fix? What were they dealing with that they no longer deal with? Who are the folks that you're in proximity with? Mentors, peers, other content creators, other course creators, other affiliates doing well, etc. And the you, like, I've said this a lot, but like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? What do you enjoy? Like on a deeper level, stuff about, what you do in life. What do you enjoy doing when you're not doing work? My wife mentioned to me the other day. She said I come up in conversation. I had a friend bringing me a camera. I let him use it because he went hunting. But she said, yeah, it flips on the back porch. He pretty much lives there ever since he built it, which is true. I spend a lot of time. Like, I wrote this off as my office space because it is. This is where I spend the most time, right? I love sitting outside. I sit outside even when it's 40 degrees. I just throw a hoodie on. Anyways, wife, husband, kids, boyfriend, girlfriend, pup dogs, hiking, whatever it is. Like, what are you doing on the weekends? Right? Are you hanging out with family? Y'all taking trips? What are y'all doing? What are some of the things that you've tried? Like, share your experience. It doesn't always have to be business. Would encourage it not to always be business. But just, I think the biggest thing that a lot of folks overlook is it's always business. Like, if you notice, I turned Ashton losing a tooth into a fucking business lesson the other day. Got pretty good engagements, right? But her losing that tooth was a pretty good business lesson. Like, I seen it immediately as it was happening in real time. So I got to share the side of me about being a dad and coaching my daughter through pulling her own tooth out, and what happened, all the work, the pain, all that shit that it went through, all that. All right. Now we're gonna get to a little bit of the nitty gritty, like the raw tactics on stuff. Like, if you're in promo mode, like Jill and Jeanette are right now, they could easily be hitting on what results have come from this promo. They don't have to say, hey, here are the results we got from the promo, but they can say, hey, here's what we were doing to get X result. Here's what we were doing to grow, 300-400 group members over the last 2 weeks, right? Here's how we landed a few sales. Here's the type of content we were creating, right? Like, give the strategy away. Say, hey, here's a strategy we use. Go and do it. Come back and tell me how it went. Right? Give them something really good that they can take and go and get some cool ass results. Now, eventually, they're going to want to buy from you, right? Try a new content strategy that generates X amount of leads. Like, all of y'all could do this. Share it. Put it on a fucking doc, give it away, add something at the end, boom, there's a lead magnet. If you hit a huge milestone in your business or in your life, whatever it might be, 10K, 50K, 100K, lost 10 pounds, stopped smoking, right? All that shit. Share it. How'd you do it? How'd it make you feel? Figure out a seamless or flawless way to talk to people, right? Folks, I got hits on my hunting post in my group the other day. Folks come out to woodworks that have never commented on shit, right? All because I shared something different about me. It all goes together, right? People are going to buy into you, not just for the business standpoint, but you as a human. And that's what's slowly getting pushed out of this space because it's so much artificial intelligence and just automate everything. Like, the only folks that are going to win with that are the ones that are going to keep themselves in it. But if they're like trying to completely remove themselves, they're going to lose. So humanize, personalize, rationalize, and have some fun being yourself.
Yeah, and a good way to look at this too is, like, I think Dan Bolton mentions it a lot, where people need to buy into you long before they ever pull out their credit card. They need to buy into you as a human being way before they even make a buying decision. That's what they're buying. They're buying, like he makes a reference where they're buying the coach, not the coaching program. But they're buying you, right? And that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else, is because like everybody's an individual and has a unique story and content and things that they can do in their own business that makes them different from everybody else. Right? Even
Yep.
if you have a doppelganger or whatever, like it's still.
I love this next part that Nate added, because this is technically what we do and we don't even realize that we're doing it. One, she's an awesome actress. Number one, everybody should know who she is. Like, she plays some really good fucking parts in movies. But this particular movie, when I saw Nate type it up when we were tag teaming this doc, I immediately remembered this scene and how powerful it was. But I'm gonna let Nate walk y'all through it.
So I wanted to reference a movie, yes, because I do watch movies at times, usually romantic comedies. Don't come at me. Um, but this brings up a really good point about content creation. So the movie I'm talking about is called Focus, right? And this is ultimately what we want to do with our content. So for those of you guys that haven't seen the movie, they place a bet, right? Where she couldn't pick the number. She had to pick a random number of the person on the football field, right? Like, she's there with the other guy and they're like, hey, pick a random number from the person on the football field. But what they didn't know is for days, they were constantly priming the person they were betting against to see the number 55, right? From his hotel room number, the chandeliers, the radio, the people outside the stadium. They were planting all of these seeds in his world that had the number 55 on them, right? So subliminally, they were putting the odds in their favor, and the guy ends up choosing the number 55 and they win the bet, right? And this is what our content needs to do, right? You need to plant continuous seeds that move people towards where you want them to go. And I'm not saying to do this unethically and be like, slimy, but you need to like intentionally plant seeds that are going to help people feel confident with getting towards the decision that you want them to make, which is most of the time working with you, buying your products, coming into your world, right? So you need to use your content to build this ecosystem that all works towards, getting fruit on your money tree that you can harvest. And I thought it was a really good example of this because, on the surface level, she's nervous, she's scared and all that stuff, but the dude has been engulfed in the number 55 for days, right? And that's exactly what your audience needs to do to feel confident with buying, right? And it's not necessarily like the context of, just post pictures of group juice over and over again. That's not what we're saying. Like, think about everything that somebody needs to know and understand and feel confident to actually make that buying decision. And that's what you need to aim to put in your content for the next 90 days, right? If you already have a group of 500 people and you made it a point to, cover everything as much as you can over that next 90 days, like, it would be silly to think that you couldn't start making consistent sales out of that community. Because you're doing it intentionally. Right? Yeah. Being more intentional with the content is a big one, and why you want to do something.
When folks see things enough, like repetitively, the idea that you're sharing or the methodology or the strategy or the model, it subliminally becomes their idea. Now you can call that, master manipulation, or you can call it influence, whatever you want to call it. But in a nutshell, we've trained the audience to think or do something that we want them to do, because they've seen it so many times, it starts to make sense, and it then becomes their idea, even though you were the one that planted it, right? If you're in a group of people and like one person's got this really good idea, there's going to be a handful of folks in this group of people that are like, I don't want to do that because he came up with the idea. But if you can make them feel like it's their idea, like, oh yeah, I thought of that. I think that's a good idea. We should do it. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? This can be super powerful if used, like Nate said, ethically, right? If we can point out the bullshit, saying, hey, this is bullshit, don't do it. This is good shit. Do it. right? But we got to make them feel like they're making the decision, right?
Yeah, we could try a good real time example. Like I'll put Jamie on the spot. Um, how how long have you been thinking about walking on the treadmill? Did you start watching like YouTube videos of other people working out? Did you like, what did that look like? Or did it was just like
Um,
overnight?
yeah, so it's been like not binge watching, but YouTube videos where everyone's working out and losing weight for sure for probably about 3 months.
Yep. And I only brought that up because I do the exact same thing where like I'll catch myself watching or like engulfing myself in like other pockets of the internet, and then eventually I'm like, meal planning again or meal prepping or doing these different things. And like that's a good real-time example of like a customer journey, right?
Yeah.
Like they're getting themselves up to speed and like, getting ready to make decisions. And that's ultimately what we do as content creators. We're bringing people along that journey.
Yeah. I like before I ever done any entrepreneurship when I was working at the plant back in 2017, I made the decision to buy my first course, but it was because I had kept seeing shit over and over about people making money with drop shipping. I was like, fuck, the concept makes so much sense. And I kept seeing more and more people do it. Right. You click on one thing and you watch it, then you start getting more and more of it. Or you can talk about something these days on your with your friends, and next thing you know, it pops up on your phone as soon as you open your Facebook feed, right? It's because they're doing the same shit. They're just way better at it with the technology and, the demographics, right? Same shit though. I saw this enough times where I was like, I'm going to do it. And this is my idea. It wasn't my idea. I was trained to think it was my idea. That's what got me to make a decision. This is how people run ads and retargeting ads. How many of you guys have seen an ad where it's like they fucking speak to you? It's like, hey, you clicked on my thing the other day, but you didn't grab the thing. I just wanted to give you one last shot. That's a retargeting ad, right? If you clicked on something, it's going to be the same person, and you didn't do anything. You clicked away from it. The next one you're going to see, they're retargeting you, saying, hey, you looked at such and such video the other day, but you didn't finish the checkout. They're retargeting your ass, and they're really fucking good at it because they know if you keep seeing it, eventually you're going to make a decision, right? Same thing, just different
Yeah. And a
levels.
good real-time example of that is a lot of the times you'll see like testimonials. So like you'll have the person who comes and like lands on the website, and then a lot of their retargeting ads will be like real use of that product, right? Oh, customer experience with that product, because they're looking on a little bit of a deeper level. Like, okay, this person came here and they were like, I didn't really want this thing. So they have some lack of belief in what it's going to do for them. So then they'll mix in the other side of the spectrum, right? Like, hey, I know
Yep.
you didn't get it, but this person did, and this is what it did for them. Right? This person lost 50 pounds. Right? Do you want to lose 50 pounds?
Yep. Boom sauce. Any questions so far before we move down? Is this helpful? Stroke our egos. We want to make sure we're giving y'all good shit. You know how we do. All right, Ian. So peep this. This is what we're about to cover on this last little section. This is nothing new, really, but it needs to be a refresher or AKA reminder. So there's still a lot of people doing things the old way. Now, the new way eventually becomes the old way. Now, one thing I'm probably most proud of as far as what me and Native did is the fact that we haven't changed our marketing message or our strategy and model for 3 years. Why? Because it still works. There isn't many people that can say they haven't, switched models. I really don't know that many people for real that can say that. We've been using the same shit. Have we evolved? Yes. but the model and the strategy is the same. The marketing message is the same, right? And when I say the old way, this is what gave life to Group Juice, is we hit on, you know, how many courses and coaches and creators out there were saying, hey, just join a bunch of other entrepreneur groups, add as many friends as you can, and send them all a message. Does it still make sales? Yeah, it does. It still works, but it's fucking tedious and very time consuming. And in today's time, people are turned off from a cold message. I still get them and they piss me the fuck off. Especially the way they come at me. Like I could open my phone and read you a couple right now. You'd be like, all of y'all would be like, these fucking guys are amateurs. Like, who the fuck is still teaching this shit? Right? They're still doing it. Versus, you know, the new way is post short form videos to attract and grow an audience that binges you until they are ready to buy. No chasing, right? Now you can speed up the process by being, you know, proactive, but we don't chase people. We create enough content that gives them plenty of angles to see how we operate, how we move, folks we've helped, etc., until they are ready to buy and they reach out to us, right? That's the new way. This is what we've been doing for a long ass time. Okay. Me and Nate were talking about the other day. We don't spend a whole lot of time in the DMs, but we're going to change that because we've got enough people in our world that we should spend more time in the DMs. So Nate's trying to help train your boy Flipper here to batch create content, because that's really difficult for me to do. So if we can get all our content done, our thinking is schedule content for the week on Sundays maybe, and then we can spend more time in the DMs, which is something I'm really good at when I actually fucking do it. So why do I not do it as much? It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that completely, but there's my point. The old way is tedious and time consuming and just super 2020, right? The new way is more laid back, less time consuming, and allows ethical indoctrination on their terms without the pressure. People don't want to be pressured or pushed into a corner. You know, that shit out there. I think somebody created a course, buy or die. Fuck that. That's stupid, right? Either buy my shit or fuck off. No, we don't do that. We just make offers and say, hey, I'm not ready. Cool. What do you need help with? I'll send you something that'll help you. We're just trying to take them deeper into indoctrination. That's all we're doing. We might make 10 offers to the same person, and each time we got to send them back to something else that'll help them. And then the 11th time, it's like, I'm ready. That last thing you sent me, that was what I needed. Boom, ready to go. Cool. No pressure. All right. So when you tap away on a post or an email or go live, record a new training for your guide section, YouTube, etc., you're giving folks in your audience a gateway to sell themselves on you. The more shit that you can share that you've already created, those things I just mentioned, like, talk about them once a week. If you're not getting steady lead flow, or you're getting a bunch of no's, or things just aren't flowing the way you want to, keep pushing people back to shit that they need to see before they can make an ethical decision for themselves, right? They get to sell themselves on you, plus the new way of doing things. Especially, this is easier for them, especially when you are telling them why the old way is done, without, like, you know, bashing it, of course. But you want to give them an easy out to eliminate the things that they hate doing or don't enjoy. And this is where you show them what it looks like to do it the new way and how it's going to be for them once they deploy that. Okay. The more that they see it, the more it becomes their idea, what we were talking about earlier, and it becomes a logical strategy for them to adopt. It's like, fuck, this really makes sense now. Why am I still doing it the old way when I've got this new way in front of me? Right? So the more you can create for folks to sink their teeth into you, they get sold on your plan, the better for you, short and long term, right? Because they're like, oh, this person isn't trying to sell me. They're trying to help me. But the thing that's going to help them is you pre-selling on everything else. So you're still selling them, but you're just doing it with less pressure. Nobody likes high pressure sales, right? Folks are turned off to that shit. They fucking hate it. They talk about it every day. At least once a day, I'll see someone share a screenshot. People are still doing this? Yeah, they are. Right? So build the indoctrination station so that folks can get as much of you as they want until they have to buy from you to get more. And that's what we got for you today. We'll tee up